What's up, everyone? This is Raine from Our Lady Peace, and you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Republican Anthony Rogers has no previous political experience. Rogers, a comedian, is well known for a podcast called The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, man, this is Tommy Chong, and right now you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carol Baskin, and you are listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey, y'all, this is Kevin from Candlebox. You are listening to the funny man, Anthony Rogers.
Hey, my name is Alex Sulkin, writer of Ted and Family Guy, and you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show. Lucky you.
At Revolution Coffee Company, we are dedicated to giving you the best cup of coffee you have ever had, while supporting those who keep us safe. We roast our coffee daily, and we offer same-day shipping. Our coffee never sits in a warehouse or a shelf getting stale. Our prices beat our competition, and our coffee speaks for itself. Check us out at revolutioncoffeecompany.com.
Welcome back to the greatest show in the entire universe. Today we have an absolute legend in rock music, Raine Maida from Our Lady Peace. How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Dude, I love your band, by the way. I'm starting by that. Like, legitimately, like, fucking, like, and like, you're probably gonna hate this, but Superman's Dead kills. You probably tired of? Are you tired of singing that song, or like? I fucking love that song.
I'm not tired of singing it. It's not the easiest song to sing, so it's like it's work. It's a little bit of work.
Yeah, I said that was annoying, like a song you wrote forever ago, but I legit love that song, man. It's like it kills, man. Like to this day, it kills.
Sick.
That's awesome. So maybe some typical questions, but like the answer is cool. But how'd you come up with the name Our Lady Peace, or how did that come together? Like,
I went to college in Toronto, and I took some literature classes, and it was just an old war poem by this guy named Mark Van Doren, and the poem was pretty dope. So it gave me a vibe, and I usually go with vibes.
Cool. And how'd you guys form the band? Like more or less, like friends, or like just so like?
Yeah, I just out of Toronto. You know, the community there. Our bass player Duncan, I went to high school with. So when I was like I said, I was at U of T, University of Toronto, and doing criminology, taking literature courses, kind of like I like school, like I like learning, but the band thing was started to take up more and more time, and then all of a sudden, we did a demo, and I went to CMJ in New York with literally like a CD of like 3 songs, and just people flipped out. So it was one of those things like, shit, I'm out. I'm gonna go chase this.
So you had like a band is like almost like a hobby, and then it started to blow up. Basically, you're saying?
I mean, you treat it as a hobby because no one takes it seriously until it's serious, right? Everyone thinks
that's true.
That's the way it goes. So, but it was never, if like legit in my mind, it was never a hobby. It was just, you just never know if you're gonna get a chance to actually make a living doing it.
No, it's super honest, man. So, like, were there like musicians that got you into this, or like your family, or something like family musicians, or like what kind of how'd you get into this? I guess
that's a good question. Yeah, no, my family, like there wasn't a lot of musical talent in my family, so it's not like I learned to play guitar or piano from my mom or something. It was more, I loved like creative writing. Like I loved writing stuff, and it was like, how do I express it? I didn't want to write like novels or things. It was very like beat poet stuff. And I was like, I'm not going to be a poet. Like, that's not my vibe. So what do I do? Maybe, okay, do I sing this stuff? So it was really a product of, hey, I need to do something with these words.
That's crazy. Yeah, you seem like a writer after you said that, like a novelist or something, like the vibe you have, like I don't know. You seem cooler than like a novelist. So I guess that's why rock music worked out. Like, you mean like, and that's interesting, man. Like, that's cool. So you guys have been in the game a while. You guys are still killing it. Like, you guys are still doing decent tours and shit. I mean, that's crazy, man. Like, congrats on your success, by the way, man. It's like insane. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, at some point, just like staying in the game is it's like that's a huge win, right? We made it through, like, I had a bunch of big singles and stuff, and that stuff's great. But then, like, how do you sustain that? How do you keep your fan base? How do you, still make music? Like our new album, Spiritual Machines 2, I think is legit like the best album we've ever made. So I'm excited to get on the road and just play new songs. And we did some shows like in New York and Boston before Christmas, Detroit, Columbus, and played like 5 new songs from the record before it was out. And usually you play new songs, and like, you know, especially fans that love like Superman's Dead or Somewhere Out There or Clumsy or whatever, like they're kind of, you know, they'll listen to one or two, and then they're like, yo, I'm here for the hits, right? Or the songs they know. So, and I feel the same way. Like if I go see an artist and they try to lay 5 new songs I've never heard, unless I would love that artist, I'm kind of like, yo, that's a lot. But we did it. We did 5 new ones and people flipped out. So that's always a good sign.
No, definitely. I mean, I think that to be able to do that still, I think it's awesome. It's after like being in the game that long, most people, 1, never get there, and 2, don't stay once they get there. So it's like it's interesting seeing that. And I'm in St. Louis, so I mean, your market, you're still on the radio out here and stuff. I mean, that's probably why people are nostalgic with your music and like want to hear the hits and stuff, because that's what they're playing on the radio still. Like you got a couple stations out here, like still. I mean, you got a big market. I think like a lot of people.
I love the Point, man. I love St. Louis.
Yeah, they like what? Yeah, they still. So you're familiar with that people?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that's crazy, man. No, they love it. They love it out here, man. Like if I tell after I tell people, I try to announce it afterwards. After I tell people I had Arlie, the singer from Arlie Peace in here, they're gonna go fucking lose their shit, man. I think like this area, and it's like it's fucking awesome, man. I think. I mean, I grew up listening, I guess, your band and stuff because of like the Point being so dominant in this area, like as a kid and stuff. I mean, I probably listened to that shit for like, I guess 10 years, you know? That's like crazy to think about how time works, you know? It's just like, you don't expect that. Like the first time you hear it, you're like, I'm going to listen to this song for 10 more years. It's just like a weird thing to think about, you know? You're like, has that happened? You didn't know which songs are going to stick or like what songs people resonate with or something, or is it just like,
yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, you know, we were signed to a really good record label back then, so we took a lot of their advice just in terms of, hey, here's an album, what songs do you think, you know, are gonna, you know, garner the best like reaction. To me, it's not about like hits, it's about reaction, like what songs move people, you know. That's how we judge music. I'm in my studio right now, there's 2 huge speakers right here. It's like what moves you. If the music you made or the song you put up and coming out of those speakers, if it's not doing something to you like physically and emotionally, then it's not probably worth it. And so for me, it's always about, you know, trying to figure out what songs move people. Superman's Dead definitely did. I think Clumsy had a huge reaction. Somewhere Out There was one of those songs off Gravity that had, you know, same thing, like moved people for some reason. It's hard to know. I don't know if there's a science there, but it's, you know, that's the best part of music. When the hair on the back of your neck starts to stand up, or, you know, you get goosebumps.
Yeah, I'd say Superman's Dead's in pop culture at this point. I mean, that's like, I mean, I'd say it's just like one of those songs that probably, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised it's going to blow up on TikTok again with like a younger generation and like just different stuff like that. I think you got several hits, but I'm just saying like that song in particular sticks out like to me. And I think like the title is bold. It's I mean, just a bold fucking title, man. And like, and the song's good and your voice is really good in that. I think like, it's just like an interesting song. I think just like it has a lot of qualities I personally like. And I think that, I could see that, like I said, blowing up generation after generation, like how the Beatles were for like our generation. I mean, just different generations, you know, like older music. Like we'll keep listening to it. You know, it's weird. I never predicted that though.
I love that, and you know, it was a different song, and I think because it has like this separate ending, that was always weird for people. Even when we first started playing it, I remember some of the first big tours we did down here in the U.S. Like we kind of stopped the song. Like the song kind of ends at like, I don't know, 2.5 minutes. And it like, you know, like has this crescendo in it, this big ending, and most people, because they didn't have the record yet, thought the song was over and they clap. But like that's the lead into like the next, this bigger ending. And there was a song that Alice in Chains had called Wood that I kind of mimicked it after, that did the same thing and went into a new ending. But they didn't ever stop. They were probably smarter, you know, when they did the big switch. But we had it actually stop. So it took some familiarity with the song for people to understand that it's not over.
That's I like that, man. And like you're probably tired of the same old questions about old songs stuff. Like, what's the new album like? What are you guys recording now? Like, what's going on with that? Like,
yeah, the new album's dope. It just came out. We recorded it with Dave Siddick, who is like literally my musical hero. He was like one of the lead guys and producers and writers for a band called TV on the Radio, from Brooklyn. And, you know, he's produced everyone from like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs to Group Love to, I think he has a Grammy with Jay-Z, you know, like he's just the dopest producer around. So I was lucky that he wanted to work with us, and he killed it. Cause I think he brought us into like the 21st century. Like, alt rock's great, but we needed to transition to something that felt like Dave calls it future rock. So just rhythmically, sonically, he's a big like modular synth guy. So he just added stuff that we just didn't have in our arsenal. And I'm really thankful to be able to work with that guy. He's a good friend, and he's a great he's a great producer, but he's also like I don't want to tastemaker sounds cheap, but he's like, he just knows the right things, you know, and it's the first person in all my albums that I've made that I really trust, which is weird, like this late into the game, but like, yeah, man, I found the dude.
That's awesome, man. Like, so were you guys recording this at? Like, you out of?
We recorded it. Well, we did it over COVID, so we kind of did it like back and forth. I'm in LA. Dave lives in Glendale, which is like really only about 20 minutes from my place. But we kind of were like respected each other's like, you know, health, and we didn't really get together too much. We just sent tracks back and forth, and so that's the way it was done, which is kind of interesting. Usually, I wouldn't want to make an album that way, but I mean, Dave's so good at it, and then secondly, it gave us a lot of time to like think on stuff. So usually, when you go make an album in like 2 months or 6 weeks, it's like it's done, and you can't go back and change shit. This time, we had like a year, so. I would send him notes, say, you know what, I'm going to redo this vocal. I feel really, my voice feels great today. I'm just going to re-sing it. And he'd be like, yeah, I would never get that chance usually.
Is there like a general idea or theme to like the album, or is it just like random songs, or kind of like what?
No, it's based on. So we did an album in 2000 called Spiritual Machines, which is based on a Ray Kurzweil book. Ray Kurzweil. Anyone that's in the music business probably heard of Kurzweil keyboard. So he invented the first keyboard. He's invented like 300 other things, and he's a futurist. Talks about singularity, like when you can't tell the difference between a person, like a human being and a machine, that's coming in like 10 years. You've seen like films like Ex Machina and stuff like that. But we based a record on that book, and this is the follow-up to that. Ray has a new book coming, but the cool thing is, so Ray Kurzweil is actually on the record. He gives predictions to the future.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's dope. It's conceptual, but it's really heavy, and yeah, it's all about the future.
That's awesome, man. I think that's cool. When's that come out?
It came out about 6 or 7 weeks ago.
That's already out.
Spiritual Machines 2. Yeah, it's pretty dope. This first single is called "Stop Making Stupid People Famous."
I love that, man. That's like,
yeah,
that's fucking.
And Nadia from Pussy Riot's on it. She's a real rebel.
Dude, I saw something like that on your promo and stuff. That's cool. Okay, so I didn't know that was out already. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So yeah, if you're listening to this now or watch this, Google it. just like I did. I'm gonna listen to this after this interview, actually. But that's cool, man. Like, I'm glad you're still killing it and you're able to do. I mean, that's the dream, is like just literally creating what you want to create, like for people that want to hear it. You know, I think that's and I think that's the dream. That's cool, man. Like, would you have any kind of advice for somebody like, I don't know, maybe like the 15-year-olds or whatever, like listen to this, or, like, and just want to just be a rock star, man? Like, what would you kind of advise like kids, I guess, getting into music?
Yeah, I think we're in a good place right now. There's a paradigm shift happening where I think the ownership of music is going back to the creators, and it's all about, like, I'm a big NFT guy, not in terms of like PFPs, and I think Bored Ape's cool, but it's not about that. It's more about the technology behind NFTs, which is called Web3, and the fact that, you know, we sold Spiritual Machines 2, our new album, as an NFT to 500 fans. It was limited edition, but they got it last year, so they got it like 2 months before it hit Spotify or Apple Music. So that's the benefit. It's like we were able to sell it to our like hardcore fans, and a lot of them weren't able to get it because it was a limited edition, but like, you know, they got stems, they got demos, they got, you know, cool digital artwork that no one else got. So I think that is what's really exciting to me, being able to go direct to your fans now. Not that you have to like pull yourself from Spotify or Apple, like still use that stuff, and obviously social platforms, but there's a wave coming now where it's like we can get our music direct to fans, and so that's really exciting to me. And it's for the next generation of musicians, I think it's pretty dope that they're going to have the ability to start owning their shit.
That sounded like legit advice. I mean, how old are you, by the way?
50.
I don't mean this to be rude, but like, you're very in depth with technology for being 50, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way whatsoever. Like just like most people don't understand like Web3 at all. I'd say most people, and then like just see like a guy like, I mean, that was an impressive answer, and I agree with the way the web's going for sure. And I don't hear that a lot from like rock stars. Like, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough business, right? I've always been into technology. Like ever since Napster hit, I was like, okay, this is this moment, right? You can either like fight it or you learn how to leverage it. So I've been building products for the last 15 years, really just to empower musicians. Like I look out on the stage and I stand there and I'm like, man, we're playing in an arena up here, up in Canada or somewhere. We did a big Bush live tour like before COVID. And it's like, there's 10,000 people out here, like all standing up, standing ovation. And I can't talk to these people directly. I can go on Instagram and say, hey, thanks for that. But I don't have their names. I don't really have their info to say, to really connect. Instagram owns all that. TikTok owns all that. So my mission has been like, bands need to own that. Like it needs to be ours. If Instagram like changes an algorithm and all of a sudden like growth slows or something wacky happens, I can't move all those thousands of fans I've built on Instagram for the last 5 years or 10 years. It's not mine, but they are my fans. That's fucked. That's not right. So Web3 like gives us that power finally, where the communities that we build. I'm launching an app this summer called Drops with 2 R's, and basically it's a live event app for artists. So, any artist that goes out there, it's like start building your community on Drops, because that is portable. If you hate what Drops is doing, you have that fan base.
Hey, it's me, Anthony Rogers, your favorite comedian. Get some Supernova sauce right now. Link in the description. It's an Amazon link. Get it. Fresh ingredients from Canada. Try it out. Add to the sauce collection. Let me know what you think, and tell them Anthony Rogers sent you.
And a content management system where you can take it wherever you want. It's yours. It's not ours. And that's the difference. It's between, like building either these huge tech giants, making them, more billion-dollar companies like Twitter and everything, or it's about owning your fans for yourselves and being able to talk to them directly and market to them directly and give them shit direct. That's the future. And I think as an artist, you can't afford not to take advantage of this technology.
No, I agree. You said a lot of really like interesting things. I agree, and it makes sense that a musician would know this, I guess, because I think music publicly got hit the hardest with the internet in the beginning, and I think that I think it hit a lot of industries. I mean, it definitely hit like film and stuff, and I probably would have went into music instead of comedy if it wasn't for how bad the 2000s were for music. Literally. Like when I was in my 20s, man, you were an idiot starting out in music. You were established before 1998, so I think you were able to ride a wave of record labels, tours, and stuff like that. And that did not exist in my 20s. And I was just I watched it. I'm like, man, I really love music, but this just isn't the time frame. And then I think now it's coming back into it, because in 2016 on, you saw kids going platinum. You saw all these mumble rappers and shit going platinum, and those aren't major. I mean, say what you will about them, but they weren't major label guys. They were just kids in their basement doing stuff, and I like that aspect of it. That anybody at any time could put these Rolling Stones and stuff out of business if they just work hard and just have good music and are good people, really, because you got to be a good person to maintain your fan base.
That's it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right. There was that. So those early 2000s up to now, it's been controlled by 4 big tech companies. That's the problem with music. And yeah. So it's just a power shift that's going to happen now. And, if they get on board, cool. But if they don't, fuck it. We're going to take back ownership ourselves. And that's just the way it has to happen, man, for music to survive.
No, I agree, and I think it's good seeing that, because I didn't know what was going to happen in '98. Even as a kid, I'm watching this the field. I have and I still don't really understand what's happening in the future of this. But I think Web3 that seems like it's happening. I mean, a lot of people are into crypto and NFTs and all this different decentralized kind of stuff, and that may be the future of the web. Yeah, it very rightfully might be. I mean, it seems like it's going that way. At least people are building it. I mean, they're fucking building it.
They're building it, and there's definitely some negative backlash on, and that's more from the PFPs, where everyone's tried to start this hey, I'm going to release 10,000 of this spinning head, but there's nothing there behind it. But that's not what music is for Web3 and NFTs. Like I said, we gave our fans a digital album with a bunch of stems, a bunch of demos, all this other shit that's utility, and they love it. They're not NFT haters. They get it because they actually got to touch it and see what it works like, but until you've seen the power of it. I look at it in other sectors too. Think about medical records, man. You get an MRI at one doctor's office, and then you want to take it to someone and they're not in your system. And it's oh no, we're gonna have to do another one, or we can't get it. We have to pay for it. It's yo, this is my body. It's my IP. I paid for it. I have insurance. It's mine. That shit from the day you're born should be in a digital wallet. Every record from everything you've ever been to a doctor's office, anything you've had done, any surgery, any medication, it should all be yours and just easily accessible as on the blockchain. And that's coming too. So when you put it into like practical uses, it makes sense. And it's going to make sense for creators, whether you're a comedian or an artist or a graphic artist or, you know, a guitar player. Like it's coming.
Yeah, in a less intelligent take on this, like, would you do a digital show like in a metaverse kind of thing? Like, I think that'd be cool.
I love the idea of it. I don't know if our fans are down with it yet. It might be like a couple years away. Like, you know, the one that Future did on Fortnite was dope, but then
that was cool.
Yeah, and then, you know, Marshmallow tried, and then it kind of like lost its shine for a minute. But I think that stuff's going to start happening. It's just a matter of time, you know. And onboarding people, but I'm all about it because look, if I were to do a show in the metaverse, I get paid right away. Like when we sold our albums in NFT, I get paid right away. If I sell an album with a record label, I'm waiting like 9 months to a year to get that money. That's not right, man.
Crazy. No, that's crazy. I didn't know that aspect. That's crazy.
Yeah, that shit's not cool. So, you know, blockchain and Web3, I see that money go into my wallet immediately. That's dope.
No, that is cool, man. Do you play video games like Fortnite and stuff?
No, I'm not a huge gamer. I get it. I have young kids that play, so I'm all around it. And actually, I have a cousin that like managed Ninja for a while and started a big. So I'm like totally immersed in the video game world, even though I don't play a lot.
No, I mean, yeah, you have to be in your industry. I think you have to be up to date on things, and that makes sense. And that's probably how you look at it. Just like, okay, I need this as an app. Because video games, I mean, they're huge. I mean, that's crazy to think about how big. I'd say they're more trusted and bigger than Hollywood movies at this point, which I never thought I would see in my lifetime. Like, it's kind of insane, like the way like these releases are and stuff, and people play the whole story mode and stuff. It's just weird, man. Like, it's crazy seeing that.
I mean, because it's much more interactive, and I think that's what. Even the way Fortnite did it, where you can play with your friends, and I know every other game does that now. But like, it's about community, and that's really what it is. And going back to music, and like, it's about building communities that are yours and that someone else doesn't own, and that's very important to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think there's a huge push on that for sure. I worry about like I worry about the future being like too tech driven, but I mean, I do think it could be beneficial. Like, I mean, you named the medical record thing you said. I think that's is a huge pro because like my mom's in and out of hospitals right now as I'm getting older and stuff. But I mean, yeah, if I had that information just to know what the hell they're talking about, or even these doctors, like they don't even know what happened at the last hospital half the time. They're like asking me, and I'm like, I'm just an idiot. Why are you asking me questions? You should have this data. I mean, it's like I didn't go to school to be a doctor or nurse. I'm kind of a moron, you know, medical things, and then you're asking me. It's like how am I the guy? You know, it's like. Yeah. It's weird, and I think
I look at it as it's all IP. Anything that is from like medical records are your body. That's your intellectual property. And same with any jokes you write, any stand-up things you do, any music I write. Like this is IP that we have to like take back control on. So that's what's happening. It's like I said, it might be a little bit slow at the beginning, but it's gonna happen, man. This shit is unstoppable.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, man. I mean, just like this Christmas, I think every kid got VR. So I mean, these kids are going to be like on it. Like I need to almost get on that to understand it more because like I just feel like I have a lack of understanding. But every kid has it the same way. Every kid when I was young had like a cell phone in high school or something, and that was kind of the beginning, you know. And it's just a weird time, and you want to be up on that. You don't want to be steamrolled by like these people to understand it better. And I think a lot of people when the internet first came around were steamrolled by the internet. You know, and like when film, I mean, even in film, I mean, when they went from like silent films to talking films, you know, I mean, it's the same kind of like transformation we're going through, like just as entertainment, and it's gonna be interesting to see, man. And it's awesome that like you're able to like survive these different things, like these different things that happen in your industry, man. Like, because I'd say like I said, not many people make it to where you're at, and then just as many people don't hold on to that, and I think that's kind of interesting. Like you guys have been able to do that for a while. Like I think.
And I think the benefit for me is having gone through like the different parts of the music business. Like I get it I remember when we used to make a lot of money selling CDs, you know, and I remember even when you used to pay like 99 cents for a song on Apple before Spotify came out, you know, and then before Apple switched. It's like I've seen all these things happen. So I've seen the money been pulled away from the artist. And so because I've lived both sides, I think it put me in a really good position to be able to fight for art, where most artists don't care. They don't realize, yeah, you know what, you don't make money off Spotify really. If they've never got a check for selling music before, it doesn't mean anything to them. But I used to get checks for selling music, so it's like, fuck, we can't just let that go. Like, because you don't know, like, trust me, there's money. You should be getting paid for your art. You just been told because you came up at a time when everyone was just paying subscription for music, but that's not cool. Like, that's not the way it should work.
No, I totally agree. And yeah, you probably have a more accurate portrayal of like seeing it firsthand versus like, I mean, I've read like headlines and stuff. You might even live it though, you know? So that's gotta be crazy to think about. Like, yeah, a lot of these guys will do, they'll do anything for free, man. It is weird. Like, I don't understand like really their plan or like their business or whatever, but I mean, I think that's a good, like, if you're a guy starting out or whatever, starting out and like you want to get your music out there, get your art out there. I think it's kind of smart to start out like that, but then like, there's no longevity in it. I mean, how are you going to last without making money? You just can't last in any industry without money. It's just like not even an industry if you don't make money. It's a charity at that point. You know, it's like
yeah.
It's gotta be weird to think about. And like film did the same thing. I mean, film went from like DVD sales to nothing. You know, streaming. If you sell your movie to Netflix, you get like a 2-year license for like, I don't know, like $100,000, $300,000 depending on your success rate. You know, I mean, bigger ones probably have more money and stuff. But I'm saying like on an average. So I mean, you're taking movies that used to make like $40 million and now they're making like $300,000 before product placement or anything like that. I mean, it's the same, like, the internet basically did that to a lot of stuff, and I think. And I'm hopeful, like, what your perception of Web3 and how that could change a lot of things, and because it won't just change music, it'll change everything. And I think that, like, and I think that'd be interesting to see, like what's going to happen in the next, like, so many years.
Yeah, I think fans. I don't know if you've ever heard. There's a site called Bandcamp that during COVID, like, if on Fridays, that was Bandcamp Fridays, like 100% of the proceeds, if you bought a vinyl or a hoodie from Bandcamp from your favorite band, 100% of the proceeds went to the artists. Those Fridays were huge. And so it just means, it proves out that fans still want to buy stuff from their favorite artists.
Definitely. But
they just don't really have a way to do it besides like a Bandcamp. So, you know, that's where we're moving to, where it's like, yeah, the people that just want to listen to your stuff on the Spotify, that's fine. But there's always a section of your fan base that really believes in you and supports you and will pay for stuff. And so this is the way you're gonna be able to do it and get right to them.
No, I agree. I think that's totally true, and I think like music's weird, man. It takes a certain kind of person like to master that. I think, and like I think everybody I grew up with try to be rock stars and stuff. So it's like cool that, like, I mean, your discipline and ethics. I mean, it takes a lot of hard work. I imagine it doesn't just happen overnight. You know. So,
no, man, you gotta be an entrepreneur these days as an artist, for sure. That's the Jay-Z thing. You gotta be a business. It's not just a business, right?
Yeah,
the businessman thing.
Yeah, because if I was booking you in the '90s, I'd have to go through like publicists and all this shit. But I just hit you up on Instagram. I think that's the
that's
future.
It, right? That's the future. And that, you know what? I think that's it. It's about community. Like, we were able to connect without any gatekeepers, right?
Yeah. I didn't have some guy taking 20% off me and some guy taking 20% off you, and then we were like, oh, hey, well, like it was like I like that with the internet. I think it's definitely. I mean, it's the reason this entire podcast exists, because like this would, you're in a different state and stuff. This would have been impossible, and I think it's just we're in a cool time, man. I mean, I think like. There's so much negativity right now. It's just good to focus on the good. You know, it's like everyone's just scared of like just bioweapons or World War III or whatever's going on. It's just like, dude, there's like, I think a renaissance is happening, man. I think all this negativity is going away, and
I love that.
It's just like this beautiful time for art and stuff. I mean, that's what happened after the bubonic plague. I mean, the Renaissance happened, you know. So we're gonna have some kind of like thing like that. I mean, all this art that was created during this lockdown and stuff, all this like everyone went through like mass trauma together, you know, united everybody kind of, and like there's just a lot going on that's positive, brought families back together. People like fast food places aren't open past 9 now. I mean, I think that's good for the workers. It's not good for me, but it's good for the workers, you know. But like just, I mean, people like realize like, man, I work at fucking Arby's. I'm not gonna die doing this. I'm going back to school. I'm gonna fucking like build a house. I'm gonna do. They found their passions, like Fight Club almost. They're like, I want to paint a self-portrait, you know. That's like where everybody went, and like, and we haven't even seen the results of that yet.
I agree 100%. I think the lockdowns made everyone like dig into their creativity again and figure out things, and that's.
You made an album, yeah. You made a new album,
But even people that thought they weren't creative, like you said, someone that worked at Arby's, like, you know what, this isn't for me. Like, it's a means to an end, but I'm going to dig into something different. And I think that's, you know, sometimes you need, like you said, these big kind of moments, these like heavy and hurtful, and a lot of people suffered, but these moments over the world where it's like, hey, I got to reassess who I am, how I see myself, and change some things. That I love it. That's a good way to end, dude.
Yeah, and it made us all stronger, man. Like, obviously you can Google Our Lady Peace or anything like that. But is there anything you want people to like, kind of like look up in particular of your band? Like, I mean, obviously the new album, but anything outside of that?
Yeah, I mean, check out like honestly, Spiritual Machines 2. It's on all the streaming platforms. Everyone gets their music. That's the jam, man. This is like, anyone that grew up in the alt world back in, the late 90s and early 2000s. This is the hopefully the renaissance of that, because I think we're able to do something really cool with Dave Sitek. And like I said, TV on the Radio is one of my favorite all-time bands. So to work with that guy was a dream, and he killed it. And so this record up, it's the best Our Lady Peace record we've ever made.
Cool. So check out Spiritual Machines 2 by Our Lady Peace, everybody, if you're listening to this. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking the time to come on this show and going backwards in your career a little bit.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it, dude.